So this first one, so this is part of Vincent's Tale. Vincent's Tale is something that he's been working on. It's centered around Van Gogh, I think is what I remember. It's been a while since we got into it, but um, Ren is very, very clever. He's very creative. To know that he's an independent is unfriggin' believable. The stuff that he puts out, and even when I think I'm the guy that's going too deep and I'm annoying everybody over here because they're like, let's go, bro. I've been talking about this video for an hour. It's a 4-minute song. Ren has more. He gets into stuff that I never would have figured out, which I think is great. Okay, so this is called The Bedroom. Let me warn you, for those of you that are not familiar with Ren, not only do you need your thinking cap on right now, but you need like uber focus because he is fast and he is smart. I'm going to tell you right now, that's live. 100% that's live. Based on his slight movement of the whammy bar right there, and he's using a loop pedal. That's why he wasn't playing when he first walked in. He's not touching the guitar. That's a loop pedal. He plays something, he can just loop it over and over again and play on top of it.
Ever felt anger with nowhere to place it? Vincent felt cold, neglected and jaded, impotent, empathy castrated. Look for the new thing, always look for the new thing, but never look inside, never look within, without, above, below, same thing. Wait, it gets deeper than that. The insane thing is sane men living in insane terrain, contort insane brains that are kind of deranged, strange, without the factor of cause and effect. Factually, the man's a casualty of constant neglect. Let's start at the start. Vincent was born in the dark, home birth to a mother, painted scars on her arm. Track march from the dragon, China white in the palm. Shooting up the birth canal, Vinny fell out like yarn. Tumbled out, himself unraveling, and that was the theme. Exceptionally average grade, sprayed with low self-esteem. From the fire to the frying pan, painting it green. When it's the cash that rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, funny Vinny. He weren't ever good at hustling, shitty jobs that he was dead and stocking. Started a combustion, nothing. Pulled him out of debt, the debt collector's rushing to be stripping him of everything. Eventually, there's nothing. The cycle is a cycle for a psychopath on ice. The day repeats, the days are weeks, the weeks are most your life. When the day's done, it's the same one. It's a repeat, it's a rerun. A deja vu religion, a foreboding of a prison. Whole Britain, Great Britain, hell Britannia rule the wave. We started out with intentions and we ended up like slaves. Drink to kill the tension, but the drinks cost your wage. What helps you is what kills you when you're living too deep.
Just in case you haven't caught it yet, so far this is a complete one shot. There's been no cuts, no transitions. all live, so far completely uncut.
And so it goes. Vinny starts to drink to let go. Soon he's drinking, cause when he don't drink, every day is a day on death row. So he drinks so we don't have to think. Mercy tastes bittersweet when the spirit that's inside of him sinks in his teeth. And the months turn over, May to October. More days pissed than the days he spent sober. Skin looks older, demeanor gets colder. Sledgehammer swing to that chip on your shoulder. A cold prison deep in alcoholism. 40% proof, no juice. Inhibition get loose by decision and taboos. When we're living for the booze, who's who he lose himself to? One too many, 1, 2, 3 shots down. Drown those sorrows up in London town. If we in for a penny, we in for a pound. Fate comes full circle. Now it's Vinny boys round.
Here we go. Oh, damn. Are you kidding? Okay, thank God. I was like, there's no way that was 10 and a half minutes. Whew. Okay. Before we go into this next part, because we're only 5 minutes into a 10:24 video. I have a theory now. And if I'm right or I'm wrong, don't say anything. Because I don't know what Ren has said. I don't know what announcements have been put out. I have no idea. But I'm starting to wonder, and this is with my very limited knowledge of Van Gogh or art in general. I have no idea about anything. I'm starting to wonder if there is an intended parallel between Van Gogh as a misunderstood artist, but is at his core an absolute genius, and Ren. If that's the parallel that he's making. We're following Vincent van Gogh's story and all the little nuances of what his journey looked like and how it affected him, how people viewed him. And then if that parallel stays true to Ren's side of things too. Because I think Ren, especially being an independent artist, you know, and I guess this is true of anybody. You love him, you hate him. Some people don't understand, but is an absolute genius. So I'd be curious to see how this plays out. I could be way off. Richard! I think Richard was the security guard, if I remember correctly, from one of the last ones. There we go.
Sirens start singing as the screws murder silence. Stand on my Miranda, my right to remain violent. One man's resistance is another man's tyrant. When tyrants make the law, they go to war with non-compliance. Locked up, Vinny been locked up since his mother knocked up. Kitty grew up fast, pulled his socks up. Chop, chop, keep that credit top, top. Time is money, tick tock. Quantify the price upon your soul and then it's chop shop. Not particularly special, Vinny spent his life a vessel for the musings of the devil. Repetition caused some issues, turned a hide into a jackal. Building pressure in the kettle, bubble up to boiling level. Ooh man, he's a mad lad, falling on the warpath. Vinny split the atom like a Nagasaki bloodbath. Skies are raining black ash, copper car lights flash. Red and blue kaleidoscope, some folks don't like that. Never mind, just a victim of society. The one that serves you alcohol and sells you your sobriety. The one that sells you sex as it pedestals virginity. The one where we elect these lying pests with God ability. 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 1. Our boy spun his own web-fed tarantulas come like 9 to the 9 to the 9. Through his Christ timelines intersect Richard's fate was designed.
Damn.
Paint the picture, set the scene. It's 2019. Richard Richard and a boy named Screech. The hands of fate, they touch and reach. Siblings buried, blood it bleeds. Etched in Richard's memories. Thoughts a muddled, troubled sleep. Takes a time of absently. Hitting the bottle to soften the blow in the walls of yourself, and there's nowhere to go. When it's friends on the force, they don't call, they don't show. Go to therapy, raggedy, seem to plateau. When his popo went loco and woe so low that his mojo no mono rebound no yo-yo. And so the time it moved slow-mo. You see the case was never closed, cause the motive was confusing. Orphan killed his sister, but his sister was removed when the mother died in childbirth. But dying womb life brings the cycle of samsara. Always was quite amusing. Brother killed his sister, but the record seemed to show the brother never met his sister, didn't even know. So the tragedy was a catastrophe, a fate fucked up. Richard's losing sleep while his whole family's talked up. The 5 stages of grief is a common psychological model, often used to provide reassurance to all those stricken by loss. For loss comes with a cost like frostbite, shockingly cold, paving the road.
Did you see that? Did you see that? So first of all, I want to note before I forget that I think Ren wearing all white is significant, obviously, but I'm wondering, is it like a conscience? Is he a representative of some kind of message specifically? Could it be some level of like good versus evil? But let's move along. Watch the bottom right side of the screen.
The 5 stages of grief is a common psychological model, often used to provide reassurance to all those stricken by...
Right there. Somebody notices this is in the frame and slowly peel it out.
Loss.
But point being, I point that out because we've known that because Ren does these crazy one-shots, super perfect every time, even some of these errors, they just leave in. And it just gives more credibility to what they're doing.
Of grief is a common psychological model, often used to provide reassurance to all those stricken by loss. For loss comes with a cost like frostbite, shockingly cold, paving the road to decomposure, decomposing his soul. One, denial, pretending for a while, reality retired, but everything is changing. Richie lost the will to smile, how to reconcile when murdering a child. The second stage is anger, feel it bubbling the bile. Anger down the man that served the hand that wrote the plan. If God is will that's good and grand, then damn we are all a damn forsaken by creation, revelations Richard cannot stand. The third stage is bargaining, begging God for second chance. Lord, I know it is a reach, but I'm begging on my knees. Resurrect the boy James, resurrect the boy Screech. I'll devote my life to thee, I will live a life of peace. Stage 4 is depression, that's a lesson taught in grief. Depression, demonic like possession, that feeds upon this spark for life. No water is refreshing, no sunlight brings him warmth, no sleep will ever bring resting. His guilt and doubt are oh so loud, the silence sounds so deafening. Depression, the numbing of expression, the negative obsession, ruminating in oppression. Stressing is a lesson when your mind begins reflecting. That's stage number 5. 5 is acceptance.
Oh, I got some questions after this.
Souls get shaken up, the road's never quite ideal, but slow rise, dust it off. And let me tell you something, Richie, man, I'm proud, cause you pulled a stitch from the seam, the wound was open weeping. Felt like a regression, but that flesh was set for healing. You wrestled imperfections, misdirections, walked with demons. Most demons are a fallen angel, truth has double meanings. Perspective disconnects the trauma, trauma turns to lessons. The biggest curse you'll ever face could be your greatest blessing. Remember, in the darkest times, no need for second guessing. No path is ever linear, a stumble leads to stepping. You're a soldier, a scholar of life's sorrow, and day follows day. There will always be tomorrow when it gets colder. Whatever, it's only weather. Rain feeds the crops, let them grow, think clever. I'm so fucking proud of you, Richie, my boy. I know you're itchy, my boy, to get to work and deploy. Serve and protect my don, in for the right reason. I know you think you've done wrong, but look at who you become. It's your first day at work, big man. Hold that head up high, my friend. Come on.
Oh, damn.
We're all proud of you, Richie. I hope you get out there and smash it. I mean, what could go wrong?
Jeez. Oh, dude. Oh, Dude. Wow. Okay, we need to go back. Wow. The different styles of song in this alone are phenomenal. Phenomenal. And if you I don't know how people could disagree with this, honestly. This dude stands out for so many reasons. Not just his musical talent, but his creativity, his wordplay. He's so different. He's so smart. You can tell that everything about this guy revolves around what he's able to craft with his art. Phenomenal. So it's at this point that I wish I were more familiar with the things that we've watched in terms of like Screech and Jenny and Violet's Tale. Like we've watched them and we've dug into them a little bit, but like unlike what I assume would be your quintessential renegade, that's fans of Ren, that really dive in and they understand all the nuances of every line and every lyric and how the story ties to, I don't know any of that, right? So what I'm going to throw out is just some nonsensory and we'll see what makes sense, really. I do think there is a potential parallel somewhere with my earlier comment with like Ren and Vincent Van Gogh, misunderstood artist or genius, genius in a shell kind of thing. Maybe. Some people might look at either of them or both of them as they're crazy or they're kind of wacky, but they're actual geniuses. And you have to try to understand them. You have to pay attention. Or they're ahead of their time, maybe. Beautiful one shot all the way through. Incredible guitar playing. Lots of good little sour notes, too, which is really, really nice. And it goes with the vibe of what he's saying. Kind of sets the scene. So you notice in this first scene, he's wearing all white. He doesn't have the hat, but he's wearing all white. When we got into this next part, I remember Richard from that last video, which they kind of montage through at the end here. If you remember this video, what the hell was it called? I think it was a few months ago we watched it. What was this video called? Somebody remind me. It was such a good one. There was only one transition in the whole thing when the camera went around Ren, smooth transition. And we had like a fight scene where the camera was here. We had two fists come up. It was kind of first person view for a sec. It was so good. Well, this is when I remember seeing Richard for the first time. And then you see how it ends with him and Ren right here. I had a theory, because I was still stuck on the Van Gogh thing, that maybe, because he does say 2019 at one point. We talk about Richard's Tale. He talks about 2019. Then I started wondering, well, is Ren saying that like he's paralleling Vincent Van Gogh himself, but from like a modern perspective? Like if Vincent Van Gogh were alive today, this is what his life would look like. And then it's easier for us to understand and put into perspective with context. But I don't think that's it. And if it is, great, but I just don't think that's it. This is from, was it Self-Portrait? Okay, that doesn't even ring a bell, so I guess I'm way out of it. But we definitely watched it. It was so sick, as usual. But with this, we're talking about Richard's Tale 2019. But then at one point in the lyrics, Ren mentions Screech and about somebody young being killed. So then I was thinking, well, is Richard the guy that killed him? Because I know with like Jenny and Screech and Ren walking through the neighborhood, and then we have Violet's tale, a whole different vibe. Starts in the hospital. He walks all the way through. Is Richard the one who was kind of the main catalyst for all this? And if that is the case, and now we're seeing Richard's side of the story, for him to go through, jeez.
Paint the picture, set the scene. It's 2019. Richard and a boy named Screech. The hands of fate, they touch and read.
Okay, so now he's connecting Richard with Screech, which I would hope is a reveal for people that have followed the story. They know about Jenny, they know about Screech, they know about Violet. They understand how those are intertwined. But if we are now, we've already been introduced to Richard in the last video, self-portrait, we think. But now to tie them together is next level. But then he goes deeper. It's not good enough just to tie them together. He wants to go deeper. And he wants to bring you into a space that most people would not go by default. And you have to force them in there and kind of make them face a potentially uncomfortable reality, which is very Ren. So good.
Siblings buried, blood it bleeds. Etched in Richard's memories. Thoughts a muddle, troubled sleep. Takes a time of absently. Hitting the bottle to soften the blow in the walls of yourself, and there's nowhere to go.
So now we're watching how that event with Screech has an effect on Richard too. Now, most people, I think, by default would say, oh, he's that guy. He killed Screech. F that guy. I don't give a flying what happens to him after this. Boom, he's a turd. He's the devil. He's bad. Boom. And I don't think that things are usually that black and white. And I think that's what Ren's trying to say. Hey, there's more to this story. Regardless of how you feel about this, let's just watch closely because there's more to the story. And I think that right there is always true.
Troubled sleep takes a time of absently. Hitting the bottle to soften the blow in the walls of yourself, and there's nowhere to go. When his friends on the force, they don't call, they don't show. Go to therapy, raggedy seem to plateau. When his popo went loco and woe so low that his mojo no mo, no rebound, no yo-yo. And so the time it moved slow-mo. You see the case was never closed, cause the motive was confusing. Orphan killed his sister, but his sister was removed when the mother died in childbirth. But dying womb life brings the cycle of samsara. Always was quite amusing. Brother killed his sister, but the records seem to show the brother never met his sister, didn't even know. So the tragedy was a catastrophe, a fate fucked up. Richard's losing sleep while his whole family's talk.
So we get to see that darkness that Richard is experiencing now and how he's dealing with that event and how there's so many questions around it that it's eating away at him. When we bust over to this and we go to the therapy aspect, I think this is pretty significant because I feel like it would be easy for people to say, knowing the story of Richard and Screech, that Richard is, the bad guy, he's the villain, boom, and that's end of case story. That's the end of the story, case closed. But now if we're seeing Richard in therapy, he's trying to recover. He's trying to make amends with this in some way so that he can, survive, make life normal again in some way, come to grips with it. But also, I want to go back to this point before I continue. I think that Ren being in white, he is the narrator for us, obviously. I don't know if it's really a conscience thing, which was my first theory, but we have to make him kind of neutral. Gray would have worked in that regard, but I think if we put him in all black, we might assume that he represents some kind of negativity, some kind of darkness. So we put him all in white. He's just kind of a flat piece. He's the narrator that we reliably move through the story with. I think that might explain it.
The 5 stages of grief is a psychological model, often used to provide reassurance to all those stricken by loss. For loss comes with a cost like frostbite, shockingly cold, paving the road to decomposure, decomposing your soul. One, denial, pretending for a while, reality retired, but everything is changing. Richie lost the will to smile, how to reconcile when murdering a child. The second stage is anger, feel it bubbling the bile. Anger, damn the man that served the hand that wrote the plan. If God is will that's good and grand, then damn we are all are damn forsaken by creation. Revelations Richard cannot stand. The third stage is bargaining, begging God for second chance. Lord, I know it is a reach, but I'm begging on my knees. Resurrect the boy James, resurrect the boy Screech. I'll devote my life to thee, I will live a life of peace. Stage 4 is depression, that's a lesson taught in grief. Depression, demonic like possession, that feeds upon this spark for life. No water is refreshing, no sunlight brings him warmth, no sleep will ever bring resting. His guilt and doubt are oh so loud, the silence sounds so deafening. Depression, the numbing of expression, the negative obsession, ruminating in oppression. Stressing is a lesson when your mind begins reflecting. That's stage number 5. 5 is acceptance.
So before we get into this next part, once again, that last scene was a one shot. From the time the camera's behind the therapist, we kind of swing to the left. We can see Ren standing there. We see Richard on the couch. That whole thing traveling through, going to Ren, laying on the ground, coming back to Richard for that last piece, all one shot. Very well done. Now, I don't think the audio was live. I'm sure it was pre-recorded, but still doesn't negate the fact that it's super, super smooth and very well done. And what I think is important about that, the reason I like to point that out is not only because it's impressive and very difficult to do, but Ren is trying to tell us a story. And sometimes stories need to be felt more than they're just shown as entertainment. So every time the camera cuts, and very obviously cuts, we are subconsciously reminded that we are watching something that's put together, it's crafted, and we're just being entertained. When you are put into a one shot, you're put into a scene and there's no cuts or the cuts are hidden, that allows the storyteller to bring you into the story and feel that story like you are there because there's no cuts. That's how it should be. That, to me, is just more proof that Ren knows exactly what he's doing. He is a masterful storyteller, and his goal is not just to entertain you, but to get you to understand what he's trying to say, get you to pay attention. Even if you don't understand every little nuance of everything he's saying, you feel something. Chief's kiss. Now, this part right here, in my opinion, is one of the most brilliant things in this entire piece.
Souls get shaken up, the road's never quite ideal, but slow rise, dust it off. And let me tell you something, Richie, man, I'm proud, cause you pulled a stitch from the seam, the wound was open weeping. Felt like a regression, but that flesh was set for healing. You wrestled imperfections, misdirections, walked with demons. Most demons are a fallen angel, truth has double meanings. Perspective disconnects the trauma, trauma turns to lessons. The biggest curse you'll ever face could be your greatest blessing. Remember, in the darkest times, no need for second guessing. No path is ever linear, a stumble leads to stepping. You're a soldier, a scholar of life's sorrow, and day follows day. There will always be tomorrow when it gets colder. Whatever, it's only weather. Rain feeds the crops, let them grow, think clever. I'm so fucking proud of you, Richie, my boy. I know you're itchy, my boy, to get to work and deploy. Serve and protect my don, in for the right reason. I know you think you've done wrong, but look at who you become. It's your first day at work, big man.
It's your first day of work, big man. Think about this. We've just gone back, and now you have more context to a huge chunk of this story.
Hold that head up high, my friend. Come on. We're all proud of you, Richie. I hope you get out there and smash it. I mean, what could go wrong?
That is friggin' brilliant. Now, I tell you, I think this is very interesting, and it does hit very close to home with me. And I can offer you insight and perspective that I think a lot of reactors cannot, or maybe even if they can, they might be afraid to. Because my background as military can be taken many ways. Especially if you go deeper and you say, oh, well, not only is he American. So first of all, American, strike one. Military, strike two. White male, strike. And the list goes on in the amount of things that people can take and then use against you because of whether it's stereotypes or whatever the case might be. So for me to be American military and a Marine specifically, doesn't land well with a lot of people. So be it. I understand that's just the way it is. Not really much I can do about it, but just be the best person I can be and hope that they are open-minded enough to understand, oh, I guess he's not a complete douchebag. Hopefully. But that being said, I have spent my entire adult life either in the military or working with the military or working with law enforcement, training people to protect themselves and protect other people in very bad situations. That's been my entire adult life. So I have a place in my heart, a place in my whole being that understands the complexity of jobs like this. Now, I don't know where Ren is going. Ren might pull the rug out from under us, make us or make someone like me feel something for Richard and kind of understand it, and then all of a sudden he's gonna rip it out from under me and be like, oh shit, Richard was a complete turd. I don't know. I have no idea. But regardless of that switch that could happen, I can tell you that this job is incredibly complex. Incredibly complex. And one of the things that I struggle with, and I'm sure some of you might agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. I don't want to turn this into like a political thing, but it's when you see things on the TV or in the newspaper or on your feed, whatever it is, about this is what happened in the world. And it doesn't have to be about a cop or anything that you could plug and play, whether it's this year, 5 years ago, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Always understand there is more to that story. Always. The stories that catch your eye, they catch your eye for a reason. Some of that is friggin' science. Science made to get your attention, get you upset in some way, and then it has a better likelihood to just go wild. Everything has another side of the story, has multiple sides of the story. So just be careful about jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, look, that hat, that vest, that badge, that guy is evil. I don't think it's that simple. This is just my opinion. I don't think it's that simple. I know it's not that simple. So I think this is super brilliant the way that he does this. And I think that even these nuances of like, hey, it's your first day at work, big man. I know you're excited. We're very proud of you. What could go wrong? Yo, that is a very loaded scene. You would like to think that Richard is a guy that's doing what he thinks is the right thing. He's trying to protect his community. He's trying to be a good guy on the streets because there's a lot of bad guys, a lot of bad people. He wants to be one of the good ones. He's willing to sacrifice his time and energy and sanity and potentially even his life to do what he thinks is the right thing and protect people that need protecting. Now, does every person who wears a uniform and a badge uphold the same values? No, of course not. But do I think that they are the majority? Absolutely not. Do I think that they're even a big chunk? I really don't. If you think about how many stories you hear about that are like bad people in positions like this that do bad things, one, I think that even most of those are not told accurately. And then when the truth comes out, it's hidden on page 10. You know what I mean? Again, I can't prove that. That's just kind of how I see things play out. But even then, I think that you think about the millions of interactions that people have with some type of law enforcement or military that you never hear about because it was fine. It was good. But you just never hear about it because it's boring and nobody cares, right? Exactly. It doesn't feed into the narrative. So, all that to say, it's incredibly complex. It's incredibly difficult. And I think this is fascinating, the way that Ren put this together. Now, the next one. Oh, that's a good point. Jenna says, so there's also the interaction with the wife and that smile and the way that society or organizations are like, okay, you went to therapy, you went through the 5 stages, you're all healed now. And it's not that simple. Of course, it's not that simple. But that's a really, really good point. Yep. Lulu says, no, they're not. I work with police all day, and most of them are good dudes just trying to work in a system that is working against them because of public opinion. There's always 2 sides. Agree. Yeah. And I do believe that it's absolutely one thing to listen to people that are involved in that system and understand the way that things actually work versus the way that things are told to you that this is how it is. Most of the time it's not. It's so not. And that is the truth. And that's somebody that has been involved in this system for 28 years. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Ginkage. This scene is his first day. Yeah, this is before everything happened. But Jenna is correct, though, that vibe is very true. You go through therapy, and all of a sudden everybody says, oh, well, you went through all 5 stages, you accept, you're good, and everything's fine. And it just doesn't work that way. As humans, we are incredibly complex. We're incredibly different and unique in each stage and way and fashion, and what works for one doesn't work for another, and so on.